Welcome back, mathematicians. In this video, we are going to solve this quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. Let's first remind ourselves the quadratic formula. It's x is equal to opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, so that's all under the radical. That's all the numerator, and it's all over 2a. So let's start by identifying a, b, and c in our quadratic equation. A is the value of 1. It's the leading coefficient and the coefficient of x squared. B is a value of 2, and C is a value of negative 2. Now let's replace A, B, and C in the formula with the values of 1, 2, and negative 2. And what we get is x is equal to opposite of b, so that would be negative 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's 2 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 2, all over 2 times a, which is 1. Our goal now is to simplify this expression by using our order of operations. So we'll start with the expression under the radical and the denominator. So 2 squared is equal to 4, and then we have to simplify the 4ac. Now I typically can count that 4 as a negative 4, so it's negative 4 times 1 times negative 2. So be very careful of your signs, because that should be a positive 8, not a negative 8, all over 2 times a, which is still just 2. Now let's continue to simplify the expression under the radical. So it's negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 12 all over 2. Now we're not done here, because we do need to simplify the radical. We need this in its simplest form. So first, we're going to break up 12 into its factors. And one of the factors needs to be a perfect square. So it'll be plus or minus the square root of 4 times 3, still all over 2. Now, your temptation might be to cancel out the 2's in front. You are not allowed to do that. The only way to reduce a fraction is if you reduce it with all terms in the numerator and all terms in the denominator. So we really need to do that last. So next, we're going to move over to the right here and continue. We want to, again, simplify that radical. So it'll be x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus. And so we're going to break up the radical into square root of 4 times square root of 3 all over 2. Then finally, we will have negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 is equal to 2. Drop down the square root of 3 all over 2. Now you can't simplify the square root of 3 any further. In fact, 2 times the square root of 3 is the simplest form of the square root of 12. But we notice here we have a factor of 2 in our numerator, all terms in our numerator, and we have a factor of 2 in our denominator. So we can reduce by 2. I'm going to do this by factoring out the 2 first in the numerator. So it'll be 2 times the quantity, and that will be a factor. The factor that's left is going to be negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 3, and then we have 2 in our denominator. Let's now reduce by a factor of 2, leaving us with 1 for each of those 2 factors. And so what we have for a final answer is x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 3. Now you can break that up into 2 separate solutions. So breaking apart the plus or minus, that would be negative 1 plus the square root of 3 and negative 1 minus the square root of 3. But those are your 2 solutions, and those are exact and the preferred format rather than a decimal. All right, guys, good luck.